Thank you, Jerome. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. So I have a quick question for you, and it's a very simple one. I would assume, upon a short time of contemplation, you'll be able to answer this question, and it's, where did you come from? Now, the answer that comes forth quite naturally is, well, I came forth from my parents. They're responsible for my existence. So then the question is, where did your parents come from? Well, they came from their parents. And where did their parents come from? Well, they came from their parents. And we can go back generations and generations of parents. If we go all the way back to the beginning of existence, or as life as we know it, we discovered that we all came forth from the earth. No place else, unless some of you were transported from a distant planet and you're here to supervise or something. The earth gave birth to us. The earth is literally our mother. Everything you see, the chair you're sitting in, the carpet on the floor, the clothes you're wearing, the car you drove here today, all came forth from the earth. No place else. Now, when we stop and think about that, how magnificent is it and that this earth that we call home has provided for all of our needs? It's a beautiful paradise to live in. Yet at the same time, when things happen like they did this week in Boston, you know, for me anyway, and for many of you, I'm sure it kind of shakes us. It's like, what on earth is wrong with this world? Why do people act out that way? It's very easy to lose faith on that same day. You know, there are 100 million good things that happen, yet that one little thing, and it's very, very important, that one little thing, not little thing, but big thing, took place, and it captured our attention, and we were drawn to it. Now, that is good to a certain extent because the more consciousness we put into it, the more our inner voice, as well as the collective voice of humanity, is going to demand this has to stop. We have to stop killing ourselves. And I believe that will happen. You know, many of you have seen a poster. It's a poster of the universe. Actually, it's just a snapshot of a part of the universe. And towards the outer edge, there's a black arrow, and the black arrow above it says, "You are here," and it's pointing to a small little speck, the Earth, a small little speck on the poster. Anybody here seen that? You are here. And the speck is so small, the Earth is so small in comparison to the universe, that it almost seems insignificant. But it isn't. It is different. It is totally different than anything else that we know of in a vast universe that is so incomprehensible, yet the earth is there, and it has properties, and it has possessions, which is us primarily, that you can't find anyplace else. 14 billion years ago, there was a big bang. Out of nothing came everything. And at that particular time, 14 billion years ago, there was what we call potential. There was potential for all of this. And as time moved on, all of this was created by the grand master of the universe, whether you call it God, the higher power, the creator, the powerful force, whatever it is, all of this came forth from that energy. And so here you have one little speck in the midst of all this, the earth, so small and so insignificant that you would think a mythological God could flick it off the map, and it wouldn't make any difference at all. Yet at the same time, no place else, as far as we know, and I have to keep making that disclaimer, as far as we know, but no place else can you find a beautiful flower or a tree. The earth is the only place where a tear, an emotional tear, has been shed. It's the only place where a bellow of laughter has been shouted out. It is the only place where there's trees and there's people and we can conceive ideas. All of that is just absolutely incredible. It's the only place where a musical note has been played or where a poem has been written. It is the only place that we know of that has an abundance of natural resources that life can thrive on. And here it is, once again, a tiny little speck floating through space, sunbathing in warm, luxurious, golden light. But we forget that. We forget what an absolute miracle and mystery we live in by being on this earth. So when I say, where did you come from? And we all came forth from the earth, and then we look at the earth in perspective to the grand universe, we see just how miraculous everything is. But what's the purpose? That's what I wonder sometimes. What is the purpose of it all? Was there a purpose from the beginning to draw on the potential that led to all of this? What's the meaning of it? Why are we here? And what is our purpose, more importantly? If there is a grand purpose, a grand design to everything that's taking place, then we have to find out what our purpose is so that we can align it with the divine purpose and live the most fulfilling, productive, beneficial lives that we can. So what is that purpose? To end all wars? I'd say that's a very wonderful objective. But what is our purpose today for each and every one of us? Sometimes we lose sight of it. I think it is simply to be a part of the whole, to express love, to express compassion, to express kindness, to express forgiveness for anything that separates us from everything else and everybody else. And that's very hard to do, especially when you have somebody in your life that is making your life miserable. There's a lot of people out there that have cantankerous people that they work with. There's people out there that have other people that are threatening them. There's all sorts of things that are going on, but it's important for us to maintain our focus as to what our purpose is, and that is to be a compassionate presence for the universe. Some people say it's to be kind. Some people say it's to be more loving. Some people say it's to be compassionate for those who have less. Some people say it's to help those who want more, whatever it might be. But it narrows down to a very simple premise that our purpose is to be beneficial, however that plays out. If we're not a beneficial presence to this earth, then we have no purpose in being here. And oftentimes, once again, when we have things that happen, like in Boston, and you wonder about the two people that carried this thing out, what was their purpose? They had a reason behind what they did that certainly wasn't beneficial to anybody, not even themselves. And so they get way off course, and they begin to live in a world that has no structure, that has no foundation, that has no meaning, that has no purpose to it. Now, narrowing this all down is very, very simple. You have life. Your life is comprised of interacting with the world around you. The interaction should be one of peace and harmony and love. And when we find ourselves in a place where we're outside that zone, it's important that we be mindful of it, that we're aware that we're outside the zone and we bring ourselves back in. That's where meditation comes in. It teaches us to be mindful of what is happening in our lives at any given time. Even if we're lost in the past, we're worried about the future, we can be mindful about it. Sometimes when I go into meditation, I'll go in with the purpose or the intent to still my mind and become very relaxed and to become thoughtless. But I find once I get into meditation, all of a sudden, I'm thinking about something that happened yesterday or the day before. I'm thinking about something that might happen in the future. I'm thinking about something that is totally outside the realm of the present moment. And I know that happens to everybody in here. If anybody in here has ever meditated, you've discovered that once you go into that meditation, your mind begins to wander. And we did a little experiment last week where I had everybody just close their eyes and take a deep breath and settle in for 1 minute. And at the end of 1 minute, I asked people what they were thinking of. And in most cases, people were thinking of something outside being here and meditating. They were thinking about something in the past or something in the future. Now, the reason for that is when the mind is left unattended, undirected, it is going to wander. It is going to wander outside the present moment to either the past or the future. That's just natural. So when we go into meditation, we don't go into the extra pressure is that I have to be here in the presence and I can't let my mind wander and I can't think any thoughts. We go in just for the experience of what is going to come up. Oftentimes I go into meditation with a great deal of anticipation in regards to wondering what is the first thought that's going to come to my mind. And I can't predict that. I have no idea. Something will come up that I never would have guessed that I was thinking about or that I would be thinking about. So the reason I'm telling you this is we go into meditation this morning. It's a very simple practice. Whereas you go into meditation, you just sit and you rest. And I like to count to 8. And I have it in kind of a circular fashion, 1, 2, 3, 4, with a pause, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's what I call my home base. That's our home base. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A pause right after 4 and right after 8. Now what is going to happen once we move into that, we're going to stop counting and the mind is going to take off on its own. And it's going to start thinking about something. And we won't even be aware that we're thinking that until all of a sudden there's a little pop. And so, my gosh, I'm not meditating, I'm thinking about something that happened. So we reflect on that. And then we just come back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come back to the home base. Now what this is doing is it's teaching us to be mindful of what is going on in our mind. And outside of meditation, as we're going through our everyday life, we can be mindful of when we're starting to get agitated or upset or hurt or angry. Whatever it might be, we become mindful of it. We go back to home base. And instead of going for hours or days or sometimes even months dwelling on one particular thing that's upsetting and disturbing to us, we're able to just cut it short, return to home base, become aware of what's in front of us in the present moment, and go about our lives. So just for a moment, I'd like you to take a deep breath. We're going to move into meditation. And after the song, begin to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just allow yourself to be with whatever happens. Take a moment to situate yourself comfortably and reflect on yourself, your life, all that you have, all that you give, all that you receive. And just say to yourself, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be me. And I'm happy to be here now. As you move into the silence, establish your home base by establishing a rhythm to your counting. Let that rhythm align to the beat of your heart. Let the beat of your heart align to your breathing.
Let your breathing align with the energy of the universe. And just know that you truly are one with it all. The God Spirit within you is the God Spirit that is everywhere present. And that God Spirit provides for all your needs. He prepares you for whatever may lie ahead. It allows you to learn from past mistakes and problems. But always, you can be happy to be alive. And you can be happy to be the person you are. We now move into the silence. slowly begin to bring yourself back to this time and this place. Become more and more aware of your surroundings. The question has been posed, how then shall I live? And as I answer that question, please make these words your own. On this day, I dedicate myself to peace on earth. I will accept myself without harsh judgment. And I'll express appreciation for my individuality. Today I will live without fear and meet the events of this day with confidence. I'll accept others without prejudice and experience a sense of unity with all people. In harmony with myself, my life, and all others, I will live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit.